Woo!
Fantastic. All right. Well, welcome in everybody to tonight's impromptu Q&A session. As we've had some technology go ahead and start celebrating St. Patrick's Day early and decided to fail on us with some pivotal screws on CPUs falling drunkenly into power supply units and such, as we've been told. So, yes, St. Patrick's Day woes. But we shall not be deterred and decided that we'll hop on tonight just to do a quick Q&A session to cover a few things that we have happened since our last one, and also just to let everybody know that to make up for this missed session, we'll go ahead and be back this coming Wednesday, the 22nd, from probably 8:30 Central Time, 9 p.m., somewhere around there, for our about a normal length session. But we'll go ahead and just
So instead of a video, they just get a live stream.
That's right. So, we'll just go ahead and talk about some stuff that's happened since we did our last one, which ended right around the time when you guys were going through the official charter mission, going back into the Hullock Forest to deal with a second gate that had been rumored to pop up. I don't know if we got all the way through discussing that particular piece. I'm going to assume not, because I don't see it on my notes about Kelnorn and Kerr as he was, I think, named at that, or Baron, I think, right? Was that the name at that time?
Yep.
Yeah. So Baron and Rowan perishing at after the conclusion of that mission, honestly, because you guys got through the fight, did the night's rest, and then woke up the next day to the Cato Bleepus showing up, which I think is where Kerr decided to make that valiant stand.
Yep, I was going to try to distract it so everyone can get away.
It was quite the distraction.
I lasted 3 to 6 seconds.
3 to 6 seconds, something like that, yeah.
I was very distracted.
Well, I mean, let's be honest, it was the typical Rowan outcome when he has a one-on-one fight with a monster for about 3 rounds of...
I hit it a few times.
You did, and you avoid being hit that entire time frame until you finally caught his gaze.
Yeah,
while I was taking pot shots.
Yep.
It was Rith's first attempt at strategy. He listened and ran away.
I mean, it was strategic repositioning, right?
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
He ended up just coming in to flank it at the end, but that was a pretty interesting encounter. Not at all how I expected it really to go. I mean, I'm personally, when I pulled up that particular creature, I was like, this one should give him a little bit of a struggle potentially, and like, I can't remember. I think it was con saves were the ones that I think that one used.
Which if Rith was in the front,
yeah, I expected Rith and maybe Rowan to be up there, but I figured if the people that would have the biggest issue would have been actually maybe Rowan and Lilith would have been the two that I expected to have the biggest problem. Not necessarily Kelnoran right away, but the dice are fickle creatures.
They can be.
To say the least.
Yeah.
And then it was dead and almost killed me still.
Yeah. I mean, you guys had to deal with the noxious smell, I think. But, I mean, after that one, of course, we had the the resurrections come up, the raised dead. So, I mean, I know with Kerr's background personally, I mean that was a bit of a, I guess as the player character or as the player of the character for you. I mean, it would have been that was probably a difficult decision to come to whether or not Kerr would want to come back, right?
It was. There was a bit of meta in the ultimate decision, though, of just not wanting to have to work in a new character, liking to play the current one. A lot of coming back, mostly for Rowan.
Which you didn't know was dead at the time.
Right.
That's true.
BFFs forever, even afterlife.
Till death do us together.
And it has to be together, not like one and then the other, because then you don't know,
Yeah.
I mean, for Rowan, was there ever like an instance during that part where you were like, maybe I just won't bring him back?
Kind of. Like, because he doesn't know what has happened with his sister. He doesn't know if she's dead or alive. So to an extent, he might feel like he deserves to be there, like dead instead of her if she's dead.
Sure.
Because no one knows. I mean, you probably know, you're right and everything, but I don't know. But
I mean, that's true. I do know. But,
but also it helped too that it might be a little bit of meta as well, that you had Kerr, you asked Kerr first and he came back, so I was like, okay, I have to come back now.
The drinking would have been interesting at that point, right?
Yeah.
I do like the interplay that Rith and you have that we've had with that.
Oh, with his attempting to stay sober.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Even without the mushrooms.
I mean, as far as Rith's aware, you've stayed sober, so that's the key thing.
I don't think he's had any.
I haven't.
Had any lapses, so.
Kerr has attempted to sneak booze past, but has failed to do so each time.
It is kind of a convenient thing that he's horrible at stealth.
Yep.
Very awkward and terrible at lying.
Will flee on both counts too.
Yep.
I thought you were gonna say he was like awkward and terrible at life.
That would be an accurate statement.
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily go that far to state it in that fashion, but I mean, he has not done a good job of maintaining his life. We'll say that part. Which is, I think it's been, I mean, I think everybody knowing what they know about Kelnoran now and his past that came out shortly after that point when the group got back together and
I mean, after he ran off?
Yeah.
Yes. We can't leave that part out.
Because, because I mean, that
was a big
to...
thing for Rith.
That was the deciding factor, that he's not drinking anymore. He's not in the party.
Right. It was a situation where Rith was like, I want to punch him. And if I can't punch him, then he's going to stop this behavior, so therefore I don't have to punch him.
Yeah.
And which, like I said, led to the Kelnoran backstory reveal of going into it, and just, I think, helping showing the party why he doesn't necessarily take, I don't want to say take his own life seriously, but take his own well-being seriously.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And you gotta at that conversation too was a little bit about Rowan and Lilith too.
Yeah, I mean there was definitely some insights into other party members. which
Similarities in our motivations for why we're doing what we're doing.
mm-hmm.
You got the explanation for the teeth that
It's-
night.
It's creepy.
Still creepy, yeah.
Still creepy. Still creepy.
Yep.
Yeah.
That has not changed.
Plus, Anakin Skywalker did it first.
Mm.
I mean, I guess Lilith is a half-priced, both in height and whatnot, and compared to the Dark Lord of the Sith, but
Not quite as powerful.
right,
Getting there.
she's working on it. I think after that point, I mean, you guys made your journey back, of course, and got inducted as a, or commissioned as a full adventurer's charter. And I mean, the first mission you guys undertook after that point was the Eli.
Which we almost blew because of doubt on that one versus some of the other ones that we haven't had doubt on that we should have had doubt on.
Yeah, which was it was interesting that it's like the Eli mission where everybody's like, I don't really think we should ever give him anything, and
Rith was good with it.
I know, yeah, I know. It's
telling you, inanimate objects are the death of this this group. It's gonna come too. That was a book.
the book, yeah, and just I mean, just the research that turned up from that one. I mean, you guys, for one, I think that was one of the that was kind of like the start of rolling extremely well on skill checks leading up to missions and then going into combat and rolling absolutely terrible.
Yep.
Because you guys ended up rolling ridiculously well, I believe, on almost all of the research checks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And found out a lot of information about the stuff that could be in the halls.
Which did not help Kerr's trust issues with Elliot at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean I know there was the necromancer.
Totally wanted that necromancy book.
Yeah, the necromancy book, the other various books that you guys believed would give him like total access and control over people if they came into him. There was the scepter that would allow for control over people. I think there were a couple of other things in there too that were. Oh yeah, there was the weapon for the worthy warrior that would clear even the bottommost levels. It was dubbed Mjolnir by I think everybody at that point.
Yeah. Well, Rith's still hoping he stumbles upon that at some point.
Yeah, because I don't know that we found much anything that we read about.
No.
You found a book that
Yeah.
I mean, you guys found other books that were down there.
I got an RGB potion.
You did.
That's true.
Got you some glasses.
That is also
You
true.
got the monocle. Yeah.
Or
Yes.
something, yeah, eyepiece or whatever.
Yep. You got the monocle, and there was a wand or two,
Mm-hmm.
at least one.
Yeah, the detect
Yep,
magic
the
one.
one. Yep, the magic detection one.
Whole collection of books, and I think some art pieces that were in there. There was also the trapped room that got everybody but the one who sprung the trap.
It was funny.
Yep. Yeah.
There was
And then there was the vampire.
there was the vampire, yes, which yeah, you guys
Kelnorn
Ended
didn't like me talking to her.
well, I mean, I think it had shades of the Neogi interaction.
Yep. Yep. It sure felt like she was about to bow and say master at some point.
Now that's been fun. The Neogi has been fun.
we revisited our Neogi friend there, but yeah, I think you guys ended up finding the book down there, and then there was the potential idea to collapse the tunnels.
I don't think we actually did that, did we?
No,
No,
Uh,
because the flame showed up.
Yeah.
Because when you guys exited the halls on the way back out, there was a group of individuals waiting for you.
I tried to trick him with a regular book.
You did, and then Eli showed up with a couple of his people, and I think you guys ended up messaging Kelnorn.
Kelnor, yep.
Yep. Kovacs used the stone.
Yep. That Kelnorn's still probably not 100% certain on how that all works, I don't think.
Nope. Nope. You'd
Just a
think
rock.
magic rock would like make sense to him, but nope.
Yep. I
Was
mean,
it
at least he sees more use into it than the dark vision spell.
That's true.
Which
It is an
lost.
absolute useless spell.
Yeah.
Absolutely useless. I mean, I couldn't roll for squat with that spell going, so I saw nothing.
It was pretty terrible in that regards. So, you guys met up with Eli, or I should say you met Eli, and he told you guys to meet him back to exchange the book, where I think he gave you half of the finder's fee for it, and then you guys split the party again, with half of you going back to Arabelle, and then Rith and Kovac staying back to talk to Lady Tesserel at Evening Star, if I remember correctly. Which led to
That
Rith.
was for the Shadowfell flower. That was after we came back, I think.
Was that?
No,
No, we talked to her about.
Yeah, because you guys split on the way back.
Yeah.
that's right.
Yep.
Because I was trying to think when Kerr did his runoff.
Yeah, because you guys tried to decide on, like you guys had discussed on
Oh wait,
potentially
no, that was-
withholding the book from Eli, if you couldn't identify it, or if it identified it as being something that you didn't want
That's
him to
right.
have. And then with the research you guys did, you ended up. I don't even know if there was necessarily an agreement to it, but was it. I think it was either Rith or Kovac that gave him the book.
Kovac.
Kovac gave him the book.
After he stole the papers that Kerr was hiding away.
Yes.
Yeah, about like the journal or whatever about the creature and the next level down.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because he allowed him to copy them, or he made copies of them, I believe.
Making copy.
So, but yes, so you guys you split the party. Which, after learning about the flame and Rith receiving notice that they held the same mentor, headed back towards the town of Glen with Kovac to visit his old mentor.
Kovac and Lady Tesserel.
That's right. She was there, but I don't think she was in the. I don't think she didn't go with Kovac and Rith to the house.
No,
She had
did
other.
not.
She just
Yep,
teleported them to the
Yep.
place.
All the rest of us went back to Arabelle.
Yep. To do your own research on the flame. So.
Yep. Unhelpful research on the flame.
Which
And then Lilith bought everyone gifts.
is true.
That's not true.
Or gave everyone gifts.
Yeah, she
I'll
didn't buy
say.
my gift.
Correct. She found it.
So, I mean, the trip to Mano. How'd you feel about that for Rith? With the, I mean, like I guess the insight into his former previous apprentice, or Ski Rod.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. It was nice getting to give or provide some um, background on Rith and his views and why he's out traveling around. Why he has both heads on his maul and why he's attached to it. I thought it was pretty fun having another apprentice come into the story, and obviously we're still on that storyline here and there. So I'm thoroughly excited to see where this story goes with him and how he's evolving. I've enjoyed the character a lot. Barbarian is not something I've played or play heavily. Usually it's the wizard,
Or the
of,
rogue.
or a rogue of the group. So this has been a big change to me in regards to the play style. I've enjoyed it a lot though. So
Yeah, because you got to. I mean, there was the meeting between Skirod and Rith in the pit. You had an
Yep.
opportunity to talk to him a little bit more, and
Oh, we were all undercover.
yep, I guess. Oh, there was the combat that happened there with
I became a
Rowan,
legend.
yeah.
Rowan getting inducted into the pit, where I didn't think it was possible for someone to roll a critical failure on the dice and still win. An
Undefeated.
athletics check. Yeah, that's right. uh,
Win via Wet Willy.
that's right. Distraction by all costs, whatever you can do. But you got an opportunity to actually talk to Ski Rod, and
Yep.
I mean, I know no one else in the party was able to understand, of course, because you guys were speaking in Draconic, but it was definitely a different take, I think, on than what Mano probably taught Rith.
Yeah. I mean, the strong survive, right? The weak perish. The strong thrive and move forward over the weak. Um, that's definitely something that was taught to him. Definitely something that was um not necessarily ingrained into him, but it's a view that was held. Obviously, Skirod has that view a lot more than Rith does. Um, I think Rith has the benefit of seeing. Not to say that any of the characters in our party are weak, but seeing what the weaker can do and what the levels that they can step up and their value. So to him, that's been a benefit in his travels, even if it's just been short. Even the weak can become strong.
I've taught him a lot.
I mean, it's from a dice rolling perspective. I
Yeah.
mean, Rowan's kind of become, ever since you've passed the 5th level and gotten like hex and whatnot. I mean, just the amount of damage he's able to kind of deal out with that new warlock invocation. I mean, it makes him a pretty potent person. But so, I mean, would you say then? I guess that Rith is just seeing the different versions of strength then, as opposed to just physical.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's evident in the fact that he's now multi-classing, right? the way of the barbarian, strength, whatnot, was his core belief for the longest time. He's definitely starting to see the benefits to strategy and trying to implement it in to his routine. Kovac helped him with that. Seeing, the two other characters or three other characters, the other individuals, all of them interact differently and how they approach battle has kind of really helped him in that viewpoint as well. And that's kind of one of the core reasons I multi-classed him, is to show that growth outside of just a blunt instrument.
Yeah, I think there's been, I think aside from Kovac, I think every member of the party has multi-classed in some capacity. Kerr being, well, Kelnorn being the second most recent aside from Rith. Or you
Yep.
guys actually multi-class in the same level?
I just did this last level.
Right, so yours was 2 levels ago for Kelnorin?
Yeah, the last 2 levels he's been taking Ranger.
Ranger, right?
Yeah, so mine's just been the fighter class because of that influence. Obviously, I the character himself, I would limit and would not go into a mage class,
Well,
just because it would not fit the character at all. Nor
Right.
would he did think about rogue as kind of a stealth style, but that also doesn't fit necessarily as much, I felt, as a fighter class. In adding that,
Rogue.
yeah. Well, in all honesty, it's a great class to go with, if you look at it from that perspective. But I didn't want to metagame into that as a class. I hate doing that, so I always like to just how the character flows and feels. And it just felt natural to go more of a fighter class with him, as a subclass.
which has been something that, I mean, you've been doing with Rowan too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, as far as like your character class choice.
It's just, yeah,
Been,
just kind of going with what feels like what he would do.
I mean, so for most of what you've been doing, like, if you've been more focused on what he's been using the most at that point, right?
Yeah.
So, like I said, I enjoyed the fact that that's the way you guys have approached it. I think it's the best, definitely the best way. I mean, you always want to leave room for your character to grow and not necessarily map out all 20 levels. You know, I mean,
Right.
Yeah, I mean, when I started, my goal was, hey, I'm just gonna go 20 level barbarian.
sure. And now made a decision to change, and I don't even think for Rowan, you didn't even really have. I mean, you had the idea of potentially going to Warlock at some point, and then
Yeah, no, like starting out though, it was just straight bard is just what I thought. And then I was
Yeah.
just like, you know what?
you had the option to do something with it story wise, and
Yeah.
now you're almost what, half almost on it.
Yeah.
3-4.
Nice. Yeah.
So, and I know you've been taking some fighter levels for Lilith recently, so I mean,
Yep,
it's
she's more of an archer.
Mhm.
So I figured the archer line of the fighter would fit her better since she's using her bow mostly.
So, I mean, it's definitely turning into a lot of either martial focus here recently on the party's side, but so after you guys got back from researching the flame, talking to Mano, come back, give the book to Eli, and then end up taking a job that would take the group into the Shadowfell to go retrieve a flower for Connor, which led to some interesting research, I think. And
Yeah.
I can't remember who was it was Kovac and Kelnoran that went to talk to him the first time. Is that right?
No, I did.
Yeah.
Rowan and Kovac. Okay. So you two went to go talk to Connor, and got the mission. So, what were your guys', I guess, thoughts on going into the Shadowfell itself?
I ain't scared.
Since we don't have the character that originated from the Shadowfell with us right now.
That's why I wasn't scared. We had a character that originated from the No, and as far as like for sure accepting the mission, like I made sure to ask questions that would like make Rowan feel okay about doing it. Like the guy said he was doing like good things basically with the flowers. So it made Rowan feel better about being like, okay, we'll do this for him. But it's still a little scary because, I mean, like, you know, I have no idea what's going to await us in the Shadowfell.
Lilith thought 4,000 gold.
I can see that.
That's yeah.
It was
That
a
was it.
big price tag. I think as far as most of the missions go, that was, aside from the Eli mission, has been the most lucrative on paper.
Would have been, yeah.
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 On
yeah.
paper. On
Yeah,
paper.
it's on paper.
On paper.
It was on paper.
It was on paper. So
It
Or was
got
it?
very interesting when we got there, though.
well, even before you guys got there, because you guys traveled north, and like the night before you got there,
I had to
the
put
group was
Lilith
attacked.
down.
That's right. The group was attacked.
Yep.
Lilith was possessed.
Another instance of Lilith failing on watch.
Yeah.
Well, and I
Yeah.
think Lilith attacking people and Kelnoran had no idea. I mean, I don't think you were here for that particular one either, were you?
I was.
Oh, you were. Okay.
Yep, I
Yeah.
was here for it.
Lilith wasn't here for that one because I was
That's right.
Lilith.
But I think another instance of Kelnoran not seeing the possession take place, I don't think.
Yeah, didn't see it.
And then Lilith just starts attacking the party. And now all of a sudden we're thinking maybe she's, underneath someone's mind control again.
Or still.
Yeah, right.
Still.
This is
Yep.
the fight though where for whatever reason my dice started loving me on damage rolls.
That that was one. I think you were averaging about 25 per eldritch per pair of eldritch blasts that you were doing there.
Then
Which was
again,
really
too.
good.
Then again, too. This might have been like right after getting the invocation too, which helps.
I think so, because you guys leveled after the Evening Star mission after the Haunted Halls. Is when I had you guys level again.
Yeah, I mean that helps because that gives me extra bonus damage. So
D6 to each one, or no, you had the
adds my
charisma?
charisma. Yeah.
Yep, charisma to it. So 1d10 plus 1d6 per blast plus 5 or plus 4?
5.
Plus 5. Yeah. So there's a lot of potential there. Which, I mean, that particular fight was nice because then you had your force damage because unfortunately for Rith, his hammer was not as effective against the ghostly.
No.
So you guys got attacked, and then yes, you guys got to the Shadowfell itself, made your way in, and then the very first combat happened inside the Shadowfell with Rowan and Kelnoran at the back fighting 3 shadows and a wraith,
Mm-hmm.
and then Rith, Kovac, and Lilith fighting like 4 zombies.
Yeah, I know.
Mhm.
That's so funny.
We held our ground though, even though we were also suffering from the effects of just being in the Shadowfell.
That is true
Yep.
because both of you failed your
Yep.
wisdom saving throws, and
Yeah, you couldn't hit them. You could not hit them to save your life there.
That's a good. No, I got touched once,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't
and
didn't
it zapped
Kovac
my
do?
HP.
Didn't
Kovac
Kovac
did
strength?
he got hit by a shadow, I think, once and lost a little bit of strength.
I lost strength and HP.
Same.
Rowan did take the worst. It was, I think, Kel Norn that got the worst of the Shadowfell madness, though, if I remember correctly, because you got the.
I was just apathetic. It was
Oh no, it was Rowan.
Rowan.
Yep, I got
yeah.
everything
Rowan
bad.
got
Yeah.
everything bad. Because you had disadvantage on all saving and saving throws, ability checks, and you were apathetic and disadvantage on initiative rolls.
Yep, that was me.
Which I think is what led to you failing the con save when you got hit by the wraith for the life drain, because you had disadvantage on the saving throw.
Yeah,
So,
that was me.
yep.
Walking through the Shadowfell with a grand total of 12 HP the entire time.
So, whole time.
I went from 33 to 12.
Luckily, Kel Norn was able to help us find the flower quickly.
Yeah, the locate plants, right? Is that the
Yep.
one you did?
Locate
Yeah.
plants.
Which was I think you rolled fairly well on that particular check anyhow, to like a nature check or something. So I had you roll for that too.
Yep. So,
And managed to overcome the inherent negativity of the Shadowfell, and then you guys ended up fighting a Sorrowsworn right near the flower, along with a couple of zombies and skeletons.
That's the monster that tried to kill me.
with a hug.
Yes. I think there was a few of them. I think a few of you guys got because that was the second Sorrowsworn you guys fought. 'Cause you fought the one in the second level of the Haunted Halls that gave Rith the hug with its sickle-like arms, and then this particular one was harpooning you guys and pulling you closer towards it. So I think it knocked Lilith unconscious. Rowan dropped Kel Norn to like what, 3 or 5 hit points.
I don't think so. I know he hit me pretty hard, but I hadn't taken any damage in the fight with the specters the night before.
Right.
So I was at full health during that entire entry into the Shadowfell.
Right, and then I think you got hit by the shadows. You got hit
Yeah.
by shadows at least once.
Yeah,
so
I
you
lost-
taken some damage there.
I lost like six permanent hit points or whatever. Like it didn't harm me all that much.
But
I'm
then
pretty
I
sure
think-
we brought Rowan up and then he fell again.
Yes.
Yeah, he kept dropping.
Yeah.
Yep, because he only had 12 hit points.
Yeah.
And I think you got critted on one of the hits,
Yep,
if I remember
It
correctly.
was like 50 points of damage.
Yes. Yeah. And we interpreted that. I went with the rule interpretation that it's instant death was double your original HP score, not your current HP score, which just makes the math everything a whole lot easier. So I think you avoided instant death by about what, 10 hit points?
Yeah, something like that. I was already
So-
planning my next character.
Hide behind the pile of bards.
Yeah.
Fight with the Sorrowsworn happens. You guys do end up overcoming that particular one. I know you guys all ended up with quite a bit of damage after that one, but then there was the discovery of, I mean, you found the flower, of course, and then there was Kovac finding the flute on the little girl's body who was one of the zombies that was attacking you. Which obviously, with Rowan being in the state that he was in, caused a bit more of a immediate reaction from.
Yeah, because you said she was wearing like the same clothing from like the area that I grew up in.
Similar style, yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
she
then-
had a flute.
And a small carved bird.
Yes. Which would have been like a bird from the particular region, almost like a toy type of item. But so, into finding that out, I think you guys made your way back out after a brief fight with some shadowy dogs. I think that might have been the one that dropped Kilnorn down, because I think at some point you were down like in single hit points
Yeah.
briefly, because I
It
think
was
everybody was frightened except for Kovac and Kilnorn,
yeah. That's
including Rith.
that's
Yeah.
when Kerr said it was time to run.
Right. And unfortunately, like the final fight with that Shadow Mastiff Alpha, there the only person who could get any closer was Kelnorin, because Rith couldn't move any closer, neither could Rowan or Lilith. And Lilith kept missing with her shots because she was at disadvantage, unfortunately. So, I mean, I think that fight took a little bit longer than expected for you guys. And then you guys make it out of the Shadowfell, make your way back, and attempt to turn the flower into Connor to retrieve the posted award money.
Yeah.
And I
It's
think that-
me and
Sad
Kovac.
face.
Yep,
Yeah.
Kovac and Kelnoran make their way there and find the place empty.
Kind of.
Yep. There was a table and a note and a giant bloodstain upstairs.
Yep.
At least you guys weren't framed.
Yeah.
Are we sure?
Still a big sad face.
Yep, and there's a note that was addressed to Kovac. 'Cause I think it was. I mean, everything was written in Sylvan, which, if I remember correctly, Kerr reads, correct?
Mhm.
So he was able to see that it was addressed to someone, but not necessarily Kovac's name. But it was his letter, and he revealed the basic contents to you guys, that there was an individual that from a previous lifetime of Kovac's that had some information for Kovac and Rowan, even though Rowan's never met this individual to his knowledge.
Scared.
Yeah,
It's Rebecca, isn't it? You just said to my knowledge.
Yep.
I did say to your knowledge. Gotta leave things a little bit of a mystery, you know.
Maybe it's Mary from the second gate.
Yeah, Mary's probably just code for Rebecca.
You never know.
That's true. Never
Rebecca could be everywhere.
Never trusted anyone again. Eli's probably Rebecca.
Or
I-
Shelby.
I don't know.
Wait a minute.
I will continue trying to set them together then.
As you should.
Yeah, that has been an amusing point.
Oh, that's a thing in there. I don't remember exactly when it happened, but Shelby talking with Kerr about Rowan changing. I think that happened actually right before the Shadowfell
just before
trip.
we left.
It was right before the
Yeah.
Shadowfell trip because he tried to keep doing everything. Yep. There was the revelation that Rowan's pupil colors changed, or his irises, anyhow.
Yep. And he was more confident.
He
Yes.
was.
And for a bad dice roll reason, Lilith could not hear through that window.
Right? So, yeah, there was the investigation that Kelnoran did to ascertain whether or not Rowan was possessed, mind-controlled, different person.
I'm Rebecca.
Just don't know it
Plot
yet.
twist. We've been working together this whole time. So, you guys had the again the note that Kovac got. Another person that was interested in talking to a couple members of the party. I think before you guys actually left for the Shadowfell was when Rith had left notice with Skirod that he was not interested, or was that afterwards?
That was after. That was before. That was when we left to go to the missing villagers.
Bob Spear.
Yeah.
Okay. I couldn't remember which one that happened.
No, it was before that. Yeah, it was before
Okay.
that.
I thought so.
Yeah.
I thought it was. So, Rith turns down his invitation to assume what Skirod says is his rightful place, along with him bringing forth Asgaroth, or becoming Asgaroth, as he would like to believe he could be. So, you guys end up taking the Bob Spear job at the same time you took the Evening Star, or not the Shadowfell one. And also during that time frame, I think you guys also signed up to be a part of the upcoming social event for all of the Adventurers charters.
Yes.
That we're not gonna make.
Yes.
Nope, we're not.
It's 2.5 days away, or well, technically 3 days from where you guys are at. Well, 2.5, roughly, from where you guys are at current time frame. So, so you have that particular event coming up. Make your way to Bosphere and learn about the job, and then head into the Underdark, where you guys encounter a couple of different groups. I think the one that was probably the most harmful would have been the Hobgoblin encounter. So that one involved a few magical spells being slung around at you guys.
Yeah.
And
The real
then
question is, who shot first?
That's right.
They did.
And Lilith can become invisible. She doesn't know it yet, but
She does have that ability now from being in the Shadowfell, or got the feat anyhow, since she's now been in the Shadowfell for a period of time. But investigating for the missing villagers and finding the spider-like people.
Kerr rolled really well on identifying those guys.
A couple of natural 20s.
Yep.
I think 2 natural 20s on one roll where you had advantage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correctly. So
I had the
rather 3 or 4 20s rolled there.
when we got interrupted in our rest on Lilith's watch again in the cave. I had the 2 natural 20s on the disadvantage attack of opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there was the orcs afterwards, yes. Which I know you guys took a little bit more damage from that particular one. So, I mean, no one fight I think really being no one fight being all that difficult necessarily. But yeah, I think Rith being the only one who didn't take a fair amount of damage from the one guy blowing up.
Well, I only took like 2 damage from that guy.
That's true.
I took half.
Yeah, I was on the
half.
other side.
Right?
I was watching my side. Nothing was coming from it.
Well, see, that would have been the fight that you could have beat the crap out of me on, because no armor, no shield is 12 AC.
Yeah. I think there's been a couple of fights actually where you guys have. I mean, you've been attacked at night, which is, I think that's probably led to when you guys end up taking the most damage during those time frames, is because the individuals that wear armor are no longer clad in armor. So I think like it's probably Kovac and Rowan that are the most heavily disadvantaged. I know Kelnoran loses a couple points
Yeah,
on his
not
armor class as well. But I think Lilith only loses one, and Rith loses nothing.
Yeah.
So
It's because Rith is always naked. I mean, what?
Yes, right.
You're not wrong. I mean, the biggest question would be whether or not, Rith is commando underneath his pants, because that would seem like the more appropriate
It probably is.
thing for him, more than likely. So you guys fought hobgoblins, orcs, spider people. Again, Kerr rolling pretty dang well to find the tracks of which way they went into once you guys got to the big cavern.
I think it was just because I helped him, because then when I quit helping him, he rolled not so
That is very true.
good.
Yeah, it's almost like Rowan and Kelnoran are kind of linked together since they were both raised from the dead at the same time. It's like some kind of intertwined story going on here. But
Kindred spirits.
That's right. Tied together by the strings of fate.
Not gonna lie, sounds pretty awesome.
It does. I wish I wrote it that way.
It's almost like I'm tethered to the undead or something.
So when one of you
Almost.
dies, the other one's gonna die.
Shared health pool.
I feel
To
sorry
have
for him
some
because
hole.
I think
That
I'm
would
gonna
be
die
interesting,
first.
right? A shared health pool.
We're becoming like yin and yang. Except for like the good and evil part, we're just opposites.
Yeah, I mean it's a fairly accurate assessment of those two for the most part. So you guys made your way to the cave, battled the spider people as well as the wall lobster looking things that kept shooting you guys with sticky filaments.
And there was Spider Cur.
There was Spider Cur again, who did not get didn't sabotage Rowan this time.
Yeah, it was
Very
good.
true.
That was a distinctive improvement from the Beargast cave.
I mean, he was being controlled by the better player at the time. Tim.
Now, I will say, comparatively speaking, I think Rowan took far less damage when he was almost sabotaged by Spider Cur than when he wasn't sabotaged by Spider Cur.
That's probably true.
Because in the Beargast mission, even though he led you straight to the Beargast, you didn't get hit one time.
Until Rith hit me really hard.
Well, that was Rift, though. That wasn't...
The Beargast
Spider-Cur
itself
didn't-
did not hit me.
Spider Cur did not lead you towards Rith for Rith to hit you.
Yes, that is very true.
In fact, I think Spider Cur was on the Beargast back at that point.
Yeah.
No longer Spider Cur.
Yeah.
And Rith and Lilith were fighting back to back down below, while the rest
You
were still up top.
You mean back to calf?
Yeah.
Back to
Yeah,
calf.
yeah, yeah.
Like,
Back to calf.
yeah, back to leg, yeah.
Yeah. Back to butt.
I did enjoy the grabbing the thing that was grabbing me and pulling it down. That was pretty fun.
I mean, it was a good use of a game mechanic in there, which I mean, there's nothing in there that says that it happens that way. I mean, because I've never enjoyed the fact that grapple reduces the speed to 0 depending on conditions that are there. I mean, it's such as Risk's case. I mean, if you can anchor yourself, I know spider climb allows you to stick to surfaces, but I mean, why can't people pull you down? They can pull you off of your feet when you're on the ground.
Yeah.
Why not be able to pull you off of a wall? So, I know there's always you have to be careful sometimes when you try to start applying logic to D&D rules because then nothing makes sense. But I felt like for a rule of cool instance that fit very well with like a Rith mechanic. So, see no problem in rewarding people who think outside the box necessarily to do something that's inside of their character's wheelhouse, but I don't think that fight necessarily, from a DM perspective, that fight did not present as much of a problem as I would have anticipated, just because of.
I think a lot of it was like we rolled a lot of saving throws and we succeeded on a lot of saving throws.
You did, and I think almost all the spells that I cast at people, be they hold person or even like sacred flames, pretty sure every single one you guys succeeded against, with the exception, I think maybe
Rith failed on one at the end
Yeah.
there, towards the end, but they were already starting to retreat, so
yeah,
Yeah, and like the crab things tried to pull Rith and me too, and we both succeeded on our strength checks or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when Lilith got hit, that's when Rith got hit by a hold person.
yep, and
Because
I think
she was gonna have him grab and pull the thing like she did, like he did the other one.
yeah, I think even Lilith
Yeah.
succeeded on her strength saving throw, and Rowan succeeded on his strength saving throw, which neither one I would have necessarily anticipated, because I think it was less than a 50% chance for both of them.
I was ready to cast Burning Hands when it pulled me up to it.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's just instances like that. Like I said, as a DM, you try to plan out a scenario where hopefully you create some things challenging, and then the dice work against you. So, I mean, not much you can do about it other than just chalk it up and move on to the next thing.
I even messaged Kovac. I said, if this thing pulls me in, we're having crab for dinner.
It would have been some pretty tasty smoked crab or something, you know. But yeah, I mean, that fight definitely did not go the way I expected it to. Then afterwards, you guys did the exploration of the cave, finding a couple of survivors as well as some remains and an altar, which Rith wasted no time in tearing down.
right.
Left the cave, ran into the hobgoblins briefly, and negotiated just a truce or so to allow you guys to pass through.
Rith was a master negotiator.
He did very well with that one. So again, some pretty well timed rolls, I would say.
Because Lilith was about ready to jump in, but it was going well, so
Yeah.
she stayed out of it.
I mean, Rith's not dumb by any means.
No.
So
No.
it's just the common doesn't come out very well, which has been also continuing to be interesting to play. Because again, Wizard and Rogue, I'm used to being able to discuss stuff. So
that would have been the reason why Lilith jumped in, is to basically interpret to them what he was saying.
And it was I tried to play some of those interactions there too. It was they understand common or can use it, but much like Rith, it's not necessarily their first or their more proficient language. They're trying to communicate as best they could from speaking Goblin to Common, and the word translations or the word selection choices aren't necessarily the same in Goblin as they would be in Common. So
Yeah, I mean the biggest thing was Rith understood that what was going on was more posturing.
mm-hmm.
So he's very good at being able to posture back, right?
Yeah.
And the giving back of equipment, he could care less about the equipment itself. He just grabbed it because it was there. So to him, it wasn't a lose situation. But he also
Right.
knew that his party members were tired, and that it would be more. And that's where the fighter part, the strategic part comes in for him. Because if it had been the Rith of previous, he would have been like, "Well, fuck it, let's go."
Let's go.
Take it.
Taste hammer.
Taste hammer.
But as he continues to develop and mature in himself, he saw that as an opportunity to avoid something that he was fine with, but ultimately at the end of the day, individuals could possibly not walk away from.
Yeah, I think. With that encounter, knowing what was there, by comparison, I think it would have turned out poorly for at least a few members of the party, because I know some individuals were. I don't think you guys were too low on spells at that point necessarily. You'd used a few, I think, but it was more the hit points that a lot of people had, where I don't think anyone was necessarily at full, or there were a few people that were down significantly. So Chris did a good job of that point.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Lilith really saw that as Rith. She had no idea what Rith was thinking. Besides, that was their fallen people, and they just wanted to honor their equipment. And so she saw that as an here, I'll give you those so you can honor your fallen comrades. And that's why that was her whole thing behind the whole exchange, is that she saw Rith acting with the honor of giving them their back, giving them back.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then they kept their word by leaving instead of trying to take us out like they could have.
I found it quite surprising that Lilith was not familiar with what they were, nor what they were speaking, considering her goblin-themed background.
She
Yeah.
doesn't speak Goblin though.
That's-
It's-
That would
Yeah.
have been the one person I would have thought that if one of you in the group had spoke Goblin, that she probably would have been the one that I would have pinned first. Something like that. But the fact that she doesn't isn't really a huge detriment necessarily. It's just a different.
She never cared to learn.
Hmm.
Actually, after what happened,
Sure.
is how I saw it. Because she was just looking to. She didn't want to know what they were saying.
That they were dying.
Yes,
You don't have to speak their language to hear their dying screams.
exactly.
It's true. It is. Wilhelm is the same in every language.
That's right. But at this point, so you guys finish up the Underdark, head back into town, report back to the mayor, return the townsfolk that you were able to rescue out of the 10 that were taken. I think you guys brought back 3.
Yep.
One in pretty sorry shape, the other 2 in not necessarily great shape, but definitely needing some time to recover. And Rowan decides to, for all intents and purposes, relinquish his share of the job earnings, and you guys are, after a brief rest through the evening, Rith wakes up to the letter knifed to his door.
Yeah.
With, like you said, I mean, knowing that the flame piece of this is not necessarily wrapped up, or that he's still having to deal with it. Having to, I guess, wait and see.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where that goes. I mean, Rith had no hesitation in telling individuals that what was going to occur, or that they were potentially in danger.
Well, when we left off, we were just about to hit our rest.
Mm-hmm.
So my prediction is on Lilith's watch, we'll be attacked.
Mm.
It does seem to be a common denominator in the nightly attacks.
Now it's going to
Yeah.
be on Kerr's watch out of spite.
That's fine.
or Lilith is just gonna choose Kerr's watch to stay up.
Yeah.
That way she can be like, it's not just me. Look, he did it too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but Kirk can rely on his 21 passive perception.
It's true. It is 22, actually. 22.
Is it 22? Did I do the math
Yeah.
right?
Because you got proficiency bonus of 3 now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, 22.
22 passive perception.
Not bad.
Well, I mean, like I said, sometimes that has pretty big benefit when you can spot things that other people, even with, even if you consider passive perception as an active thing, like as at like disadvantage or anything like that, I mean, it's still going to be better than a lot of people's hiding abilities. So,
Right. Recently for the home game here, I learned that if you roll below your passive, you just take your passive.
generally is, I think I've done that a few times. I think for Kelnoran is that you've rolled like a 13 or something, and I'm like, well, with your passive, you
Just
notice this, but
screwing over my players so bad.
He hates us.
I mean, in some degrees, that does
Confirmed.
make sense to a point. I mean, but then also, like, to me, I don't know that because there's points where you're perceptive and being perceptive, and then there's just points where you space off, and so your passive wouldn't really necessarily come into play.
Right.
I don't know. I feel like it should be the place of the player. Do you want to just take your passive, or you want to roll? And if you roll, then that's what you get.
I mean, when you have the alert feat, it's almost because that's what you have the alert feat for him, don't you?
Observant.
Observant, that's right. Alerts for initiative. Observant's the +5.
Thinking
I
about
mean-
taking it though.
Alert,
Yep.
alert, and observant. Wow. Just
He's just paranoid.
he just sees everything.
Yeah,
I mean, it kind of fits the character, to be
Yeah,
honest.
no, I
When
know.
you think about, if you think about it as a super paranoid person, you're like, who in a party fits that description? Kelnorn. Kelnorn fits that description rather well.
look what he's
Maybe
become.
Lilith needs to take observant.
It's all Lilith's fault. Paranoia.
Well, and then
When I found him,
learning
when I found him, he was semi-normal. Now he's now he's worse.
he's scared of everybody else's shadow.
Yeah.
So it's your fault.
No. was normal when we traveled together. Ish. Normal-ish.
Ish.
But yeah, so I think that's where we are at this point, which, like I said, only puts us maybe, I don't know, a little over a week or so outside of the gate mission in game time.
Yeah, we're pretty quick on just like go, 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 go.
And maybe a little, maybe closer to 2 weeks, because you guys did go to Evening Star, a couple days of research. Yeah, so I think it's probably
I'd
been
say
close
probably
to
closer
about
to
2
two.
weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe like a full 10-day, we'll say, which should be 1 week in the actual game world. Which is always interesting to remember that they don't, have a 7-day week. They have a 10-day week. So
It's been 2 weeks since I last died. That's how the entry to the journal started.
far too long for one's liking.
It's not for
So,
lack
like
of
I-
trying.
Never on the Battle Bard's side. He has tried.
Yeah, I was actually talking about this like at our home game. I was like, if I had actually like planned this path out, I don't think I would have went like College of Lore. It would have been like Swords or Valor, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, I decided I was originally gonna go 20 levels Bard. So it's like,
Yeah.
which one do I want to be?
I think, like I said, when you first started out in the College of Lore, for the way that Rowan was developing, was probably accurate at the time frame, and now he's a Hexblade.
Yep, I'm a Bardlock.
Bardlock. The Battle Bard comes out every time.
I don't try. Sometimes it just happens.
It's the best way to do it, as long as you don't try.
I just try to be like Rith. I want to be strong like him.
Don't we all?
He does smack things pretty good.
True.
That he does.
Including party members.
Yes.
Yep.
Especially party
Especially party
members.
members.
I think there's only 2 party members that haven't been downed by Rith, and one of them is Rith himself.
Yeah.
The
I've knocked
other-
all of you, but Kovac's out.
Kovac is the only one, and he got Kovac
Yeah,
pretty quick.
almost. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you did take him down.
Nope, it
I've
was
taken
real
all 3 of
close.
you. No, I haven't taken Lilith down.
Yeah, I thought it was
Mhm.
Rith and Lilith that hadn't been.
She had some hits on me when I was possessed. But
Yeah, I finished him
Yeah.
off.
Rowan
Yeah.
finished me off.
Well, you tried to knock Lilith out with
I
non-lethal,
did. Yeah.
and then you missed,
And then I threw magic.
and then you threw an Eldritch Blast. We're just like, screw this crap. Put an end to this.
Yeah.
I do tell him before every session, I'm going to kill your character tonight. And I wasn't wrong that time.
You tried, and then the ghost left after you knocked him to 0.
Yeah.
Played well, Lilith. I'll most likely kill you in the morning.
A little bit of Princess Bride here. I love it. So I think that brings us to current session, basically, and we'll be back on Wednesday to do our regular session, and we'll see if Lilith's track record holds true, and the group gets attacked and potentially killed, all on Lilith's watch, and then
Yeah.
she gets to loot their bodies.
Yeah.
Just waiting for.
Lilith Watch is beginning to be like our old home group's breakfast missions. We
Yeah.
used to sit down for breakfast, and our DM would have somebody come in and interrupt our breakfast, and we would never get breakfast. So
It was the module. It wasn't me.
well, you weren't running that one. You were a player.
It continued under my watch.
So just now it's become like a running thing is no breakfast.
No breakfast, no full night's sleep,
Yeah.
just no rest for the weary, or the wicked.
Yeah. Also no sleep till Boston. Or
Wherever
boss
Boston is.
or boss beer.
Boss beer. Yep. That does work in this instance.
I'm a bard. I'm gonna write a song. No sleep till boss beer.
That way when he goes back to when you guys go back to Weymouth and he has to perform because he promised to, then he has a song. No sleep till boss beer. People will be like, that's a really weird song.
Yep.
So, all right. Well, do we have anything else we wanted to share from current character development up to this point?
No.
I don't think so.
More to
I think we're
come.
good. Yeah.
A lot more to come. I mean, got a lot of stuff going on right now for the group. So hopefully, you guys are heading back into town with no immediate plans. So the group will have an opportunity to, I guess, basically, take care of some things in town and decide when you want to take on your next mission.
Oh, one thing we left out is we all have sending stones now.
Yep, there has been a few magical items acquired here, I think, since our last Q&A session. So
Yep,
I think
my
just about
dagger.
everybody has one. Yeah, plus your sword.
Yeah, my dagger from the queen.
Yep, and then you got the short sword or whatever it was.
And the pearl of power.
Hmm?
And the pearl of power.
Oh, the Pearl of Power, yep. Kelnorn has the amulet. Rith has the boots. I think the only person who doesn't really have a magical item would probably be Kovac.
He has the
So-
armor, doesn't he? That's magical.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has the Mariner's armor.
Yeah.
I think he still
So-
has his shield too, doesn't he?
The shield of expression.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to count it.
Yeah. I mean, technically it is. I think Lilith has a dagger, a bag, and
Belt?
wand, belt, and the eyepiece.
I have the orb
So-
too, I guess.
Yep,
And the
you
quiver.
do have the
That I've been using.
light to drift globe.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you guys have a fair amount of magic items. I would say a lot of them are circumstantial as far as their use. 'Cause don't you have a sling for Kelnorn too?
Yep.
Magical sling.
+1.
Yeah.
And an ever burning torch
Yep.
that he made.
Which I know for my character Rith, his probably his next goal, I mean, is to transmute his maul and then
Maul.
probably enchant it.
Yeah, because he had talked to El Hazir about turning it into mithril.
Yeah.
So it was the last time you guys talked to him, tried to talk to him, he was out of town.
Yeah.
And you guys dropped the plant off, I think, with people that were there for him. So
Yep.
Yeah. It's overall, like I said, you guys have a lot of stuff just kind of sitting out in the peripheral at this point, just waiting to see what happens. Mysterious meetings, party coming up, items to acquire. The journey continues.
It does.
I'm excited to see where it goes.
Me too. Because generally, whenever I write stuff out, it might be like an A to E type checkpoint, and sometimes B and D get missed, E gets reworked and turns into H, and next thing I know, I'm not even starting at A anymore. Like, it's just who knows where it goes sometimes. And those are sometimes the most fun. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
enjoyable.
Cool.
But we will be back here on Wednesday to replace this session with the actual next episode of The Outlanders. So until then, everybody, hope you all have a wonderful evening. Had a safe and enjoyable St. Patrick's Day. If you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and give us a like, comment if you want, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. And we'll see you on Wednesday. Keep those dice warm, everybody. Have a good night.
Bye.
See ya.